me for the YouTube subscribers. Well, subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe before I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC Paris. Yes, they are finally out there in Paris, France. Highlighted, of course, with Gane at the top of the card in the main event. France's best fighter right now, right? Best opportunity to win a belt for sure. We have a handful of French fighters, a handful of European fighters on this card. William Gomis, young guy, Fares Zahami, Saint Denis, Aminov. A lot of prelim guys there too, about 3 or 4 in the prelims, a couple on the main card. A week off, which was needed. Personally, a lot of upsets as of late, and of course we're affected by the Usman tough loss, right? I was no best bet on Usman, but I was in with a full unit on Usman. I think it was in a 2-fight parlay, and I also had him by decision for a smaller unit. Tough, right? Tough to see how that went out. He was clearly winning the fight, 3 rounds to 1, dominating in the wrestling department. And something like that happens once in a while. A head kick like that against, pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world. No, that's rare. You don't see that often. But, you got to give some credit to Leon Edwards there. He never thought he was out of the fight. He was training and practicing that kick. That was one of the best head kick knockouts I've ever seen. And time and time again, you see guys that train like that. If you're training a kick like that over and over again, he never really had the opportunity to try to use it throughout the fight. And Usman, I think, should have continued with his wrestling, and he should have continued to put the pressure on. But, the last minute or two, it's hard to see a kick like that coming. And I understand why that kick was there, and I understand why the coaches were telling Leon Edwards to, attempt that kick, because Usman does lean to his side. He does lean to his side and put that head low, and that's exactly what happened when he went like this, and that kick was there. So credit to Leon Edwards. If anyone deserved something like that, it was Leon Edwards, right? All the issues that he went over the past few years, this was the MMA god saying, here you go, right? The odds of that, of Edwards winning that fight with a minute left in the 5th round was super low, right? But it's a fight at the end of the day, and one shot like that can happen, right? So, 9 out of 10 times I would still bet on Usman. Usman wins that fight 9 out of 10 times, in my opinion. Maybe 8 if the fight stays standing, but you saw it. Usman is just a better wrestler. He's able to take him down at will. So I do think if this fight does happen again, it's probably going to be in the UK, and I'm going to be on Usman again. Because what are the odds a kick like that's going to land and happen, right? But all credit to Edwards. He stayed in there. He thought he was never out of the fight, and he was able to land that head kick, which is like a 1 in a million shot, right? Especially on a guy like Usman. So definitely credit to Edwards. System, sportscapping.com is the website. This is the best time to sign up, guys. If you're ever thinking about signing up, or you need to renew your subscription, this is the best time. NFL futures are sent out already to clients. I already have a week 1 play in the NFL. UFC's back. PGA is going to come back. Obviously, World Cup is around the corner in November. We have NBA, NHL back. It's a busy time of the year. More opportunities for more winnings. Last couple months, obviously, just PGA and UFC going. So not a lot of volume. MLB, I have not been handicapping the regular season anymore, but I will probably get into the playoffs with some bets. But this is the best time now. The NFL, you guys know if you've been following me for a long time, NFL is probably my strongest sport out of all the sports. And I would say UFC is obviously right there. PGA, NHL, NBA, all capable of handicapping 5 to 7 sports. Unlike a lot of guys out there that just focus on one sport, I'm able to focus on 5 to 7 different sports at any time. So now's the time to get over to systemsportscapping.com and sign up today. NFL season preview. NFL season preview is going to be out this weekend, guys. I'm going to release it on Saturday or Sunday. Lots of, it's going to be a longer video. It's not like a 15, 20-minute video. It's a season preview. I'm going over each team. I'm grading each team. I'm going to provide some free future picks as well. So it's going to be a longer video. It's going to take me a little more time to edit and get it out. Should be out this weekend, though. So look out for that. I'll be doing 2 videos a week now for you guys. UFC and NFL. So look out for that. It's busy time the year for me. I already see some guys, more clients signing up, renewing. So I do thank you guys a ton for that. If you don't want to, obviously I have videos here for free plays and information I'll be going over. Also, guys, you can follow me over at System Capping on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can find free plays there. System Capping News, sports betting news in general. I think I'm a great follow, so give me a follow over there. Weekly update. Only 2 sports, so it's not going to be a long one here. PGA and UFC. Obviously, UFC was off. Still 65% best bets over 4 years. Long term, guys. Hard to keep that percentage up. Long term. The run obviously has been affected as of late in the last month. All runs come to an end. Still a nice long-term run here though at 80 and 48. Very happy with that. PGA, not the best playoffs, but not much units lost, which is the goal, right? Just up and down in the PGA as of late, but 65% best bets long-term as well. 6 straight profitable majors. 2 outrights in the last 3 majors. 2 outright winners in the last 3 majors. 2 outrights in the last 7 events and 4 in the last 17. So again, I obviously mainly focus on the prop market. But outrights, we do small units on the outrights as well, anywhere from 2 to 4 per week. NFL reminder from last year, guys. NFL reminder from last year. We're heavy focus into the NFL. Tons of research the past 2 weeks that I was able to do. So we're getting out those futures out to clients. NBA reminder as well for you guys. NBA, only a month or 2 away, right? What is it? Back in end of October, closer on Halloween, I remember. And NHL the same. NHL reminder is same. We're high winning percentages on all sports, guys. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into this card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Shop around for best prices, guys. This is not the best price. Shop around and you should be able to find some better prices. Have multiple books, like I always stress. Don't have one and just rely on one book. Gone minus 550 versus Tuivasa plus 400. Big number here. We've been seeing some upsets as of late. I have a hard time seeing one here, guys. The price is telling you at 550, right? The only path for Tuivasa, in my opinion, is to catch him with a big shot. And that's what Gane does best. He avoids the big shot, right? This is a 5-round fight. Main event, which favors Gane. He's been in multiple 5-round fights and is in the much better cardio shape, is the better technical fighter, and is just more skilled all around. The only thing I give Tuivasa is maybe the power and heart, but at the end of the day, I can't really comment too much on the heart with Gane. I lean, he does have the more one-shot power to end a fight would be Tuivasa. That's the only thing I really give him here. I expect Gane to, pick him apart. I wouldn't be also surprised if he maybe goes to some wrestling where he has an advantage. Tuivasa has 0 wrestling. We haven't seen any takedowns from Tuivasa. And we saw with the Gane and Ngannou fight, that's the way to beat Gane, to lay on him. And that's what Ngannou was able to do. Tuivasa is not going to be able to do that, right? Tuivasa's only path, again, is a one-shot KO. It's possible. Very low odds I have it at. But it is possible. It's a heavyweight fight. He could catch him. But Gane's just so quick and so he moves so well on his feet. I have a very hard time seeing Gane getting caught. Right? He's fought guys like this in the past, Lewis being one of them. And he doesn't get caught by big shots. Right? He can go to his wrestling if needed. He can move well and pick apart Tuivasa. I don't see too much complication or too much thinking in this fight. I think Gane wins this fight. Minus 550, very tough to bet. Very tough to bet at minus 550. You can look at, obviously, Gone to win within the distance. Tuivasa cardio is not great. I don't see him. Obviously, he's never been 5 rounds. And I don't think a bunch of times he's been 3 either. So, you know, Tuivasa, quickly just look over his resume. Could he possibly win this fight? I don't see it, guys. I don't see a path. You know, let's look at quickly some of his wins. Struve out of the UFC. Hunsucker just got cut. He really sucks, Hunsucker. He's one of the worst fighters I've seen. Hardy, cut from the UFC. Sakai, who's underachieved his whole career and has lost 4 in a row, guys. 4 in a row. And then obviously he beat Derek Lewis, but hey, that's a 50-50 fight. Both guys throwing heavy shots. Anyone get hit? That's not going to happen here. Gane and Tuivasa aren't going to trade heavy blows. Gane's going to pick them apart, move well, and I wouldn't be surprised if he takes it down to the ground. He has a path there as well, and he just got beat by that. So I can see him doing that. He does have a submission game too, a sneaky submission game, guys. And you know, you can see a minus plus 600 on some books. That's not crazy. But you know, I could see a later round finish. It's not going to be an early finish in my opinion. The early finish would have to come from the Tuivasa side, catching him with a big KO, which I don't see happening, but that's where I think it would end early. I can see a mid-round finish, TKO or submission for Gane. Obviously for TKO, you're paying, you know, obviously close to even money, minus 150 are on some books just to finish the fight. That's where I think I probably would lean here. But if you want some value, there could be some value at plus 600 by submission. Obviously, it would be a small unit play, and obviously you would have to get the fight to the ground. But I could see the style where he knocks maybe Tuivasa down and jumps on the neck. It's possible. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, Gane wins this fight. I have a hard time seeing him going all 5 rounds, guys. Very hard time. Just because Tuivasa's cardio. Gane, yes, he can go 5 rounds, but is Tuivasa going to take punishment for that long? I don't see it. I have Gane here at minus 550. Whitaker, minus 215 versus Vettori, plus 190. It should be a great fight, very close fight, and I do think there is some value with Vettori. Right, when I have this fight most likely going 3 rounds, most likely being a stand-up war, you know, there is some value with Vettori, of course. Fun fact with these two, the last 2 fights these guys lost were both against Israel Adesanya. Right? They just cannot beat Israel Adesanya. And that's something these guys have in common here, right? But I do think it's a very close fight. You got to understand with Vettori, he likes to mix it up, right? He likes to grapple and try to wrestle as well, maybe hold him against the cage. Whitaker's a good wrestler. So I have a hard time seeing Vettori taking this fight to the ground, even though he does favor here in the numbers. As you see here with takedowns. But if this fight does stay on the feet, which I do think it will, I do think this fight does stay on the feet. You know, I do think Whitaker's a little faster in there. I do think he can pick him apart. But at the end of the day, I still think it's a close fight. So I do think there is value there with Vettori. There is some value at plus 190. I don't like betting Whitaker minus 215. I can't get there. Even on a 2-fight parlay, obviously not straight. It would have to be by decision if I were looking on the Whitaker side. I do lean Whitaker for the video purposes. However, I do see value here with Vettori. I just don't think it's the greatest matchup for Vettori if it's going to stay on the feet. Remember, it's only 3 rounds. Both guys are in good cardio shape. Both guys' last 5 fights, 4 of them went to decision. So I have to take this fight to go over the 2.5 rounds and the fight to go to decision. That's the only way I can look. But, you know, I lean Whitaker by decision. It's not a play that's going to make my betting card this weekend, but for video purpose, I'm going to have to lean Whitaker. But there is value with Vettori because I do think it's a very close fight. I have this more as Whitaker maybe minus 170, minus 150 in that range. They're definitely not giving any love to Vettori. I get it because the matchup maybe is not the best for him because he's not able to use his grappling and wrestling. That's the only thing here, right? If it is a 3-round fight on the feet, Whitaker should win the fight by just outpointing him, right? Vettori, I think Whitaker struggles obviously against a guy like Israel Adesanya, but a guy maybe that has power. Vettori, not a ton of power, not a lot of knockouts on his resume, right? He's winning decision wins for the most part. So yeah, I lean Whitaker here. It's not going to make my betting card, but, you know, I do see... I'm having a trouble seeing the path for Vettori. Unless he could somehow out-grapple him and out-wrestle him, there's a path there. But on the feet for 3 rounds, it's probably Whitaker, you know, by decision, is what I can see here. But a close fight. Not something I'm willing to bet on Whitaker at this price currently. DiChiarito minus 110 versus Kopylov minus 110. It is a tough fight to call, guys. Line tells you that. Russian fighter 0-2 in the UFC against low-level guys, and DiChiarito is very hard to predict from fight to fight. He's lost 4 of his last 5. Loser of his fight probably gets cut, to be honest. They could definitely get cut, loser of this fight. So, you know, the one win the Italian has is when he caught Buckley with that wild head kick, and then he went the next fight and lost to Hassan Al-Hassan by head kick. He's just very hard to predict. This is a flip of a coin fight. It's not a fight that's going to make my betting card unless you just want to flip a coin, right? If for video purposes, I lean the Italian fighter due to more experience in the UFC cage. And he's actually shown he can win the UFC. The Russian hasn't. An interesting fact here, DiChiarito probably has the wrestling advantage. This isn't a typical Russian fighter that can wrestle. Is he going to decide to go to that? Because he likes to make the fights exciting and stand and bang. So if DiChiarito decides to just wrestle, I think he can win this fight by wrestling. So I lean his way, but it's not going to make my betting card. McDessie plus 200 versus Haqparast minus 240. At one point, you know, Haqparast, big prospect coming into the UFC. I was high on him. He went on a 3-fight win streak after a tough first loss in his first fight. A couple good wins over Dikasi and Joaquim Silva. Then he ran into a tough Dober, and he got KO'd in the first round. But he bounced back nicely over a couple with a couple back-to-back wins. But then he just run into a couple tough guys in Hooker and Bobby Green. Makdessi, I don't put at that level, right? He's not a level of those guys. Definitely a few steps down. And Makdessi's been fighting lower level guys for most of his career. And when he does step up in competition against guys that are like Trinaldo and Vanetti, mid-tier guys, right? They're not top-level guys that Haqparast has been fighting. He loses those fights, right? So I do think Makdessi is a step up for him. This could arguably be the best guy he's fought. And that's not saying a lot. Haqparast has underachieved in the UFC. So it's not saying a lot. This is Makdessi's probably toughest test as of late. I didn't really look back because he's a veteran, right? He's 37 years old. I haven't looked back at his later fights. But as of late, this is his best fighter he's had. So I hate the price at minus 240. I think Haqparast gets the job done. And it probably would be by decision. These guys fight to a lot of decisions. Last time Makdessi found a KO was like in 2015. And Haqparast isn't known for finishing either, right? So, you know, I like the over 2.5 rounds here. I like the fight to go to the decision. And I lean Haqparast to win this fight and by decision. Gomes minus 225 versus Hirins plus a 190. You know, they just threw this fight together not too long ago, threw it on the main card. I had to do some tape studying. These guys are both making their UFC debuts and fight in the European scene. I did some tape study, not too much out there, but Gomes, you know, both, it looks very agile, athletic, moves well. He seems fairly well-rounded, but IQ is questionable. He's kind of, I feel like he's kind of raw. He's just getting thrown in there. He's fighting at home. That's why the line is like this. Aries, you know, Gomes also undefeated for a long time. He hasn't lost since 2016. And he's fighting at home. So yes, I'm gonna say he's gonna win this fight, but I'm not betting this fight at minus 225 with two unknowns. All right, the Dutch fighter plus 190, definitely some value there with two guys making a debut. He has lost recently though in the European scene, so that's something to factor in here. But I'm not going to bet this fight if I had to, and for video purposes, I'm going to take the French fighter. He's fighting at home. He does look like he has some promising skills and hasn't lost since 2016. Low-level competition. I get it. But, still not losing since 2016 is something to factor in. So I lean him. I lean the French fighter here to get it done. We'll see what happens. Again, it's not going to make my betting card. Fun fight to open up the main event. This could be fight of the night, guys. Jourdain minus 138 versus Wood plus 110. Both guys like to stand and bang with some high volume. Woods loves to kick those legs, and that's what he did against Charles Rosa that got him the win. He almost stopped Rosa by kicking the legs. I expect this to be on the feet for the most part, but Wood does have advantage in the wrestling and grappling department. It'll be interesting to see if he decides to go there, because Jourdain, what he likes to do also, he likes to come forward and bang. And Wood has been tested with that chin before and has been finished. So Jourdain could catch him, yes. But Wood, I do think he's going to be faster in there. And I do think Wood has a wrestling advantage. So you're giving me plus 110 on Wood. Sign me up. Sign me up. He's in Europe as well. Jourdain obviously is not a Canadian fighter. So I'm going to lean Wood here just due to the value in the plus 110. And I do think, like I mentioned, he has a wrestling and grappling advantage. He doesn't use it a ton. But with my assumption of him having a speed advantage and him possibly working Jourdain's leg, so Jourdain's unable to come forward, there's good value there at plus 110. So I'm going to lean with Wood here at plus 110. Don't love the fight. Don't love the bet. If I do bet on Wood and does make my client card, it's going to be a smaller unit play. I can see a path, though. I do think he has a few more paths to win this fight than Jourdain does. So that's why I do think there's value there. That will do it, guys. That will do it for UFC Paris. UFC Paris card. Again, busy time of the month for me. Handicapping UFC, PGA, and obviously the NFL. Really focus in on the NFL now with the futures being sent out and now just getting ready for week 1. But UFC is just as important. All sports are just as important to me, and I'll be handicapping at a very busy rate this next few months. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy this card.